The wait is over. You were waiting, right?
Oh, God. No. Please, no.
The end is nigh. Darwin and Cat are back.
Welcome back to the Darwin and Cat podcast show. Yeah, all the above. Episode 3, Garbage Barges and Country Folk. This episode is about a reality of radio where you're always being signed up for promotions. It's important to promote your show in the station, but we were always being signed up for bad promotions. And sometimes they asked for our thoughts. Other times they just signed us up.
For example, do you remember, Darwin, when they made us deliver pizzas to our listeners?
This has been bugging you for years. And I know you have a lot you want to say about this. Yes, I remember.
I'm so happy to finally talk about this. So yes, they sign you up for a bunch of promotions and you just have to do them cheerfully. And we had fun with them. And I love meeting listeners, but this one was kind of awful. So we did a pizza giveaway on the air. It's like, caller 12, you've won a large sausage. But the thing is, the morning show, had to deliver them to their place of work. And we didn't just have like one winner. We had like multiple winners. So it was like 10 stops. So we would pick up the pizza.
And geographically nowhere near the pizza place or each other.
Right. We would load them in the car and then we'd have about 10 stops along the way with the pizza kind of congealing and getting a little cold. And we would show up to the place of business hauling in the pizzas. And we always got one of two reactions. It was like complete shock that the morning show was
Oh my God,
there,
it's you guys.
Or oh my God, it's Darwin and Cat. Or they had no idea who we were. And we were just like the pizza delivery people because they didn't know us. And it was like, oh, it takes two people to deliver one pizza. That's weird.
Those were the most soul crushing. Really?
This was the most soul crushing when they would feel sorry for us. Like, oh my God, you guys deliver pizzas? Like, do you need money?
And we kind of wanted to say yes.
Yes, we
were
do
not
need
paid
money.
well. It was, I remember we'd be going to a factory and then a business park, like an office park, and then like a preschool.
And then we'd be flagging down a guy in a dump truck with his pizza.
Yep. Yes, it was all over the place. It always really, the time we were doing it, it bugged you a lot. I remember that because it was time away from show prep. It was kind of demeaning. I mean, there's nothing wrong with delivering pizzas, but we were the morning show.
Not at all. Well, we just wanted to be a little bit fancy. And those pizzas reminded us, you're not fancy.
I think that's what it was. It was a constant reminder of, you're not special here, but you're the morning show. So you're supposed to be, right?
Right?
I think so. I mean, isn't that the vanguard of the station? The crowning jewel is your morning show. The whole station is built around the morning show.
But it wasn't the only like absolutely insane promotion that we had to do. There were many.
I remember they came in one day and they sat us down. They're like, oh, you got a lot of listeners now. So let's do something where you can hang out with them. And it doesn't involve, delivering pizzas. And they said, we're going to do a booze cruise. And you clapped your hands. You were like, ooh, this sounds so much fun.
I was so excited because not only was it a booze cruise, it was a comedy booze
Yeah, that was the first one.
And we were going to get some local comics. We were going to go up there, warm up the crowd, throw it to the comics, a bunch of booze, our listeners. What could go wrong?
And then I explained to you that it's on the Hudson River in Albany.
I'm like, oh, that sounds nice. What's that?
And I took you to the river and said, that is the Hudson. That is where we are going on this cruise.
Wait, that's kind of brown and chunky water. Can the boat even make it?
And I pointed out the boat and it was small. I mean, they were nice people, but yeah. And you were nice. Losing this whole idea. I was like, this is going to be awful. This is going to be terrible. So they said, what should we call this booze cruise? And I remember our name, they were not happy with at all.
Hey, how about the Darwin and Cat garbage?
And then we laughed like hyenas. I mean, we just sat there laughing at our own joke.
Great.
Yeah. And they were just looking at us and they were not amused at all.
We are not calling this promotion the Darwin and Cat garbage barge.
And then I said, how about Darwin and Cat's garbage barge? They were like, no.
Yeah, we can add an apostrophe S. Does that fit?
The sales guy was like, I am not going to the owner of the boat and telling him this. He was so...
I have not staked my entire career to float around a bunch of garbage.
I still think it was a great name and it would have been funny as hell and it would have been better than the comedians that were on the boat. And I know you don't like to, as a comedian, ever say anything bad about a comedian.
Well, I've been a stay-at-home comic for years now, so I don't want to I don't want to lean too hard on the comedian.
But can we even call the people they booked a comedian?
All right, the comedy part.
Do you know how we paid them?
So
by the way, We offered them 3 free drinks on the booze cruise. That was their payment.
Well, oh God, it didn't help. All right, so Darwin, I'm going to tread a little lightly here. So all right, at the time, Albany was not like a comedy hotspot, right? So I'm not even sure if our comics on the boat had ever seen stand-up comedy before. But here's the problem. It wasn't that they were just super unfunny. It was our main headliner guy was so wrong for our crowd. So this particular comic was really bright. He was really political, and his jokes were esoteric wordplay based on the teachings of Karl Marx.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to push him overboard. I'm just saying. I was not impressed at all. And I think our warm-up was funnier.
It was... Well, our warm-up, I thought so. I mean, we got the crowd engaged. We knew our crowd, and we would like throw it to the comedian. And I mean, at least make fun of Karl Marx's beard, like something that we can all get into. But he was going into like some really deep text.
And it was great for the bar. They were selling booze left and right just because people wanted to get away from it. So that one didn't go well, and they decided they weren't going to book, Chuckles on Water again.
So really, we only did one.
Yeah. We only did the one, and then they said, all right, let's try something different. We have a new advertiser, and it was one of the local gentlemen's clubs. Okay. Yeah, and they said, we're going to have a few of the dancers on the boat with you. And that cruise sold out like that. It was boom. You remember? It sold out quick.
Isn't it cute when they say dancers?
Yeah, they were just...
I've had people ask me, are you a dancer? Oh my God, they think I'm a stripper.
It's such a thing everybody does too, right? It's not even politically correct. Yeah. It's just this weird...
She's a dancer.
I guess so.
She goes to podiatry school at night. She's a dancer.
Putting herself through nursing college, all of it, yeah. So we're at the Port of Albany, and we're waiting. It's supposed to sail at like 5:30. What's the holdup? So we go down and we ask, and the guy in charge is like, well, the strippers aren't here. I'm sorry, dancers.
Yeah,
and
show some respect.
And again, then the guy that owns the bar comes over, and he says... Don't worry. I mean, they're passed out in a hotel room with the adult film actress that they were doing things with last night. And we didn't even write.
If only we could have had this on the boat. My God, that would have been a successful cruise.
And he said, don't worry. I have backup strippers. They're on the way. And we looked at each other and said, what?
What is a backup stripper?
I don't know if I want to know, but I kind of wanted to know. So we found out there were 2. One was pregnant. What did you say, about 7 or 8 months?
Oh.
Yeah, that's the one that was. And then there was the old one who was already drunk. It was like, I'm 36, 63, 36. Oh, my God.
And she had a tattoo of her toddler on her back.
The pregnant one. Yes, that's right. These were the backup.
And one on the way.
And our guys, we were like, do not let any of the guys on this boat see those 2 until we're far enough down the river.
Far enough down the river that you really can't swim back easily.
But one guy tried. That guy that jumped off the boat, and everybody's cheering as the guy jumps into... First of all, you got to be desperate or deranged to jump into the chunky Hudson, okay?
Do you think there was a point where, like, he jumps off the boat? Oh, okay, let's set the stage. All his buddies are cheering him on. Jump. He jumps, and there's got to be that split second that happens when you think, this wasn't a good idea.
And I think he probably, if he didn't have it on the way down, it was when the police boat showed up and fished him out of the river. I remember he called us the next morning, and he had gotten some tremendous fine. It was huge. I don't remember how, but he got into a lot of trouble for that.
And we couldn't help him with that fine. There just are not enough pizzas that we can deliver to
help him out. No,
chip in.
I don't blame him though. But I think the theme here is that every time we went on one of these, I'm going to make a really weird cultural reference. Mary Tyler Moore show. Every time she had a party, it was terrible.
It was a disaster.
And that was our booze cruises. Every time it was a disaster. And then do you remember the one, it was probably one of the last ones. Remember they accidentally double booked us with another radio station in the cluster? It was either Magic
You're gonna
or
have to fill in the blanks
B95.
here.
And those audiences were never to be together. And that was just awkward.
Unless there are enough drinks. And there are some songs, playing on the boat that could probably bring us together.
Hoobastink, The Reason. That was the one we had in common.
Oh, I was thinking again of the Pina Colada song. Because everybody gets into that story.
Yeah, that one was awkward. Everyone, you're right. It's a deep story. Even the guys with the devil 666 tattoos, they're like, yeah, I like.
They're like, wait a minute, his old lady Wait, they got together at the end? They were trying to cheat on each other? Oh, man, this is kind of romantic, though. Exactly.
Pretty much. Then there was the time they took one of our jokes seriously because, we're like, garbage barge. Let's call it, they didn't like that. Remember when they said, oh, Grandparents' Day is coming up. Can you guys think of a promotion for that? And of course we did.
Oh, I think we can.
And we said, well, how about we raffle off, give away on the air a gravestone?
Sounded good to
me. And they went and got one. And then we had to give it away.
It was kind of a hard sell on the air for a couple of callers. Like, there were a couple of people who didn't want a gravestone.
It was pretty weird all right, for Grandparents' Day.
I'm into planning ahead. I mean, why not?
But it was awkward, like, to give your grandparents a gravestone. That was the whole promotion. They went for it.
Grandma, every year I get a sweater, and I just thought I'd return the favor.
This year I want to give you the gift that it's going to keep giving for eternity once you've gone there.
I know it's blank, but here's a chisel.
Yeah, I don't think it came with the... I think, you mentioned that. I don't think it came with the engraving.
No, you'd have to go to the Ace Hardware store yourself.
At least they didn't make us deliver that. I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, we both can have bad backs at times, so there's no way.
Aw, look. They're all grown up. They have mortgages now and back pain. Darwin and Cat are back.
There were many, many things they signed us up for without even it being a promotion in my mind. For example, during fair season, they said, do you guys want to go to the fair? And we said, no, absolutely not. Zero. No way. They said, well, maybe we can name an attraction after you. And you suggested a great name for the petting zoo.
The Heavy Petting Zoo with Cat.
And they did not go for it. I don't know why. And you were kind of...
I didn't really want to be touched, but I thought if I did stand in a pen, like maybe some people could put gloves on and actually touch a radio person.
They might have gone for that. But instead, they said, all right, fine, don't worry about it. And then we came in that morning and they said, oh, you're at the Altamont Fair tonight. Why, what? No, we're not. Yeah, you are. We signed you up for an activity. They didn't tell us what it was. So we end up...
No, but we thought, are we maybe giving away stickers?
Right. Maybe we're in a booth. Right. It's just the typical thing. And we show up there. And so they said, well, we got to go to the Altamont Fair. That's our city of license. And this is some irrelevant thing in radio now. But basically, if you're ever listening to radio and they say, we were WZMR Altamont, Albany, Schenectady, Troy. You were supposed to serve a community. That's why radio stations were licensed to a community. And that idea fell by the wayside a long time ago. But each community, and it has to do with the way they allot frequencies and how they space them. And you get into all the science of it. But really, your city license doesn't mean very much today, like it did back when broadcasting was newer. But for whatever reason, they thought, oh, we can put it in the public file. We did something in our city license. I don't know. It was meaningless. It was irrelevant. But
So they ship us off to Altamont.
Yes, we did. And we went up there and, we got there and first of all, I don't do fairs. You don't do fairs. That's not our thing.
I don't think we're carnival folks,
no.
Really.
I feel like for some people, this is their big day out once a year. Like they come down from the hills and they go out and they have corn dogs and all that. So we're actually standing, I think it was at like the corn dog stand or whatever. And
dude, I love corn dogs because I just have to say, in defense of this fair, food is more fun when it's on a stick.
Okay. I can go with that.
I will stand by corn dogs.
Well, but that's what we were getting you one.
Yep.
And we were at the corn dog stand and this guy with like no teeth came up and said, are these Darwin and Cat? And we were like,
I mean, there was no turning back at this point, but it's hard to talk to listeners when you have a corn dog shoved in your face.
Yeah, and we agreed, and he just goes, come with me.
Wait, Darwin, we're supposed to follow
Are we going to die? That's your last meal, a corn dog.
That's really
on a
sad.
stick.
To go out on that note. Oh, God.
So we follow him, and nobody told us that we were going to be racing lawnmowers.
I'm like, come again? Lawnmowers?
You had never been on one in your life, had you?
How fast do these go? Like, am I going to kill somebody on this thing? But, I've heard radio called the poor man's show business. And I think this proves it because I don't think they ever asked the cast of The West Wing to race lawnmowers.
I think you're absolutely right. And it's true. We weren't asked. We weren't even told. We just were there. They said, Cat, here's your lawnmower. Get on.
And meanwhile, I'm standing there and I'm listening to like the sounds of the fair going on around me. And this is when I heard a woman scream at her child, stop playing with your brother's foot. You know, we only got one.
I remember that. You were horrified.
And I'm looking at her. And I'm looking at the kids, feel like, oh, she's right. And I'm looking at the lawnmower.
And the sounds of the fair are all around us. The fair people are all around us. And the lawnmower people are all around us. They were very excited to have you, especially. They were really, one of them was like, you can use my lawnmower, lady.
And I was trying to make excuses. I'm like, I don't think I can get on the lawnmower. I'm in the grass. They're like, yeah, hop on.
Here, lift up a leg real high to get on this thing, lady. Cletus over here, he'll put away his camera. Oh.
I'll help you up, babe.
So we get on, and you're like, how do you make it go?
Well, I didn't know, I mean, I've seen in cartoons, like you pull something, you know, like a lawnmower.
Yeah, it wasn't there because it wasn't a cartoon. And you...
Because this was real life and not make-believe. I hear you, Darwin. Thank you.
I have to confess, you were concerned, I think, because I was getting a little too into it. I was like, this is fun.
Oh, you were in your glory. You're like, I'm going to go plow the South 40 now. I don't care. I'll see you later.
I'm going to win this thing, and let's go, right? So we start to go. They say go, and we all take off. It's me and the random lawnmower racers and you. But when I say we take off.
Yeah, there was the lawnmower club there. There were some other people who were just super into it.
And you're just ready to roll. And then how did it feel?
Mm-hmm. I didn't know what to do. Darwin, this is my great shame in my radio career. I was not very good on a lawnmower.
Is this worse than the pizzas? Oh.
Yes. This is way more embarrassing.
Well, I don't know. I thought it was kind of cute at the end because we had to go around 5 times, right?
When you had to come get me. But at a certain point, it looks like I'm ahead because I never really went anywhere.
But let's also point out that you made one round and you got to the finish line and you thought you won. You really did. You were so excited.
Correct.
You were like, I won. Yes. Like you were genuinely thinking.
Let the special girl have her ribbon. But
we didn't. We ruined it. We told you that you came in very last.
Radio ruins everything. Of course, he popped my bubble. I knew. I'm just not built to ride a lawnmower. Okay.
See, but all this time I felt bad. Like we had burst your bubble. Like we had because I really thought you genuinely were like, I won. I did it. Yay. You don't sound like that either. That is not a good impression of you. I
don't know. It wasn't that far off.
But you were excited.
But yeah, that's just another example of stuff you have to do in radio.
Yeah. I don't know that brought us any new listeners, though. I don't know that it did anything other than made you feel bad.
Do you remember that one guy right after one of the cruises? He called in and he's like, hey, Cat, I listen to you guys every day. I didn't know you had such a big, juicy butt.
Oh, and you were so creeped out by that.
I was more just sad because I'm like, oh, my God, how big are we talking? Now I've come to terms with my bubble butt. I embrace it. It's okay. And now it's really popular. Like people go to Brazil to get what I have back there. But back then I just want to be like little and skinny, just like a little stick. And he apologized to me. Like he's like, oh, I'm sorry to make you feel bad. And then he sent me like an apology in the mail. Like he mailed to the radio station all these chocolate covered strawberries, with a really nice note. And he apologized. And then I get on the air and I'm like, this is going to make my butt bigger. You do know that.
See,
and he felt bad again.
This is why
I just couldn't take an apology correctly.
This is why when you stood up after that break on the air, we went into commercial, whatever, you stood up, showed me your ass and said, Darwin, is it really big? I mean, is it juicy? And it was a trap. And I was not going, I wasn't, and because there was no right answer. Nope.
There's no good answer. No, that is a girl trap. You were smart enough to say
I did. Because when those strawberries showed up and you immediately were like, great, he wants it bigger. I knew. And I kept my mouth shut because that would have been the end of our show right then and there. That would have been it.
Yeah. No, we had a couple more years to go.
We did. With your juicy ass.
Thank you. No, I'm fine with it today.
Yeah, you're just proud of it.
I'm sitting on it right now. It feels good.
You've grown into it.
Yeah. Darwin, one more thing about the fair. My favorite moment. I overheard the greatest line ever. Oh, shit. I just stepped on a funnel cake.
And that is the Altamont Fair in one sentence.
The most famous mid-market show you've never heard is back. All new Darwin and Cat.
Sometimes promotions would turn from we weren't asked and then we weren't told into let's use this as a way to humiliate Darwin and Cat. And that was the case. We had this boss that hated us. He hated us, and he made us go sell concert tickets to our annual festival, Edgefest, at a Walmart, where you couldn't even receive our station in Cobleskill, New York. And so we call him the Wrecking Ball.
Our ratings were starting to climb. In fact, they were getting so high and so strong in some areas. It was shocking the people that we worked for.
Let's just say it. We were number one, men 18 to 34. We beat out the Heritage Morning Show. We were number one in our demo. We hit number one. And
nobody expected that. Well, at least management didn't expect that. So they hired us at some really tragically low salaries. But in our deal, we had all these bonuses written in that if we are number one in certain demos, then we get a really nice payout. And they did that. Why? Because they never expected us, to hit those goals.
And when they gave us the new deal, they changed those to make them less obtainable.
Oh, yeah, they actually took those away.
And they brought in this new boss who hated us from day one, hated us, caused a lot of problems for us, caused problems between us. That's a whole episode we're going to do later on.
Right. But briefly, let's just touch on the Wrecking Ball. So the Wrecking Ball comes in, and despite everything working, he decides to completely retool our show. If you'll recall, he ordered us to do time, temperature, and throw it to traffic. That was pretty much it. But the big change he wanted in our show was sports. And we were never the sports show. I mean, if something incredibly weird happened on a football field, we'd talk about it. But now we had to report scores. We had to talk about teams, all that. So what we did was we included sports. We reported scores from like the Turkish basketball league, camel racing in Yemen. So yeah, we followed the Wrecking Ball.
We tried in our way. We did. We didn't really try, but we did. Yeah, he wanted to divide and conquer. I mean,
that was his ultimate goal.
Yeah. He started really nasty drama between us. And I'm glad we caught on to it at some point.
We did, but not soon enough. I mean, he was doing this mean girl thing, taking me aside. Darwin's.
And then he would do that to me.
And taking you aside, Yeah, Cat thinks that she's this show, blah, blah, blah. It's like stuff that I would never think, that I would never say. And it started with all the stress, with the lack of sleep, with our personal lives, whatever was going on at the time. It started to get to us, and it started to kind of form these cracks.
But he had a goal ultimately to get rid of us because he had somebody else in mind.
Well, himself. And sadly, this is not uncommon in radio. His goal was to get the morning show for himself and all his hack buddies.
Yep. He wanted those guys on, and we had a whole idea. And we found this out because at the time he had this really mean wife who would just tell us how much she hated us and how awful we were. Told us what his plans were. Just blatantly. Remember, we were at a show once and she had a few to drink and was like, woof.
He hates you guys. He wants you off the air. He's going to get himself on there with a couple of his college roommates.
So he started.
We're like, what?
Yeah, it was whack. And he started, and that's a whole episode we're going to do on that. But he started these little, taking things in our contract, in our agreement, and using them against us. And one of them was that we had to do promotions to help Edgefest. And so he signed us up.
Explain what Edgefest is.
Sorry. Yeah, once a year, it was this giant festival, 10,000, 20,000 people, depending on the artist lineup. It was an all-day music festival.
Yeah, a bunch of bands.
At Altamont Fairgrounds. Everything comes back to that. It was a great venue.
Nothing weird ever happened at Altamont.
Never. Right? Not once. Okay. It comes back, but it was fun. And it was a great day. We loved doing Edgefest. It was just, I really enjoyed that part of the job, but not promoting it. And we obviously, it's our show. We can give away as many tickets as we want. They also wanted us to go sell them to people at pop-up sales points. And instead of giving us somewhere cool, he sends us to
Walmart
in Cobleskill. And you had never been to Cobleskill.
No, explain for people who do not live in the Albany area. What are your impressions of Cobleskill?
There's not much there. A state college that's largely focused on agriculture and the Walmart. And it's on the interstate. It's on I-88. And that's it. There's not much there. You had never been there. And you thought, oh, this is somewhere we can go to check out. And I'm like, no.
No.
And I know I mentioned it already, but it was funny when you said, does our station even come in there? Making a joke? I said, no, not even a little.
And you said, no, it a little bit.
Maybe.
It's kind of fuzzy, and then the Jesus station comes in, and then we overtake that, and then Jesus comes back, and you can't really
the battle of good and evil everywhere you went. So we get there, Walmart doesn't know we're coming. We're just, yeah.
Oh yeah. They forgot to
They
tell
didn't bother.
Them. We just look like these two ticket scalpers. Like, hey, what you
in
want?
the Edge van.
I got tickets for Pat Benatar at the fair.
This might have sold better. I don't know. We did sell a few. We did sell a few. It was, they wanted us to set a card table up out of the back of the van, and they gave us a cash box of.
This is sounding so sketchy.
And there we were, and we had to stay for, was it an hour or 2 hours? I forget. There was an exact amount of time we had to stay.
Something weird happens to me every time I go. Walmart is the place where a very elderly man will always ask me out on a date. I'm talking like 85 plus. And this has happened most of my adult life.
It's your juicy ass. I mean.
Oh, well, thank you for clearing up the mystery.
He sees those chocolate covered strawberries over there, and he's like,
I was going to refill, yeah.
I'm glad I can say that now and joke about it, but you started this, just so you know.
Everything is fair game now.
This is how we've grown.
I'm not touchy. And then this is how we've grown. I know this is the result of like a lot of years and a lot of therapy. I'm sure there'll be that one subject that I'll be like, why did you joke about that? It's fine.
Then we can always redo that episode. The beauty of this. So we get there, and I was known for wearing, I guess I have to brag a lot. I was in a phase of having t-shirts I was really proud of that just said funny things.
You had some great shirts.
Yeah, I did. I really did. And I was really, do you remember any of them?
Yeah. So my favorite one was, God, this is going way back. There was a monkey sitting on a toilet and it said downloading.
I still have that.
Are you
It looks
serious?
terrible. It's all ratty, but I still have that.
It doesn't matter. That's beautiful. You had one that said, I'm a keeper?
Yeah, it was the green one, and in big letters. I'm too fat for that now, but I have that one too.
Hang on to it. You keep hope alive with skinny shirts in your closet, because that's what
Me
I
too.
do.
It's not working for me. And then there's one, I want to say I had a big banana of the monkey holding a huge, big banana. So I had a few that were inappropriate
That was very work appropriate, but Albany Broadcasting was really strange with their dress code, because you could pretty much wear your monkey shitting on a toilet shirt, but I was not allowed to wear open-toed shoes.
That was and we found out later on the reason why.
What was the reason?
We remember there was somebody who I'm not going to name, but they were one of the people in charge, had a foot fetish, and that was the reason for the rule. Do you remember this?
Yeah, I completely blocked that
It was so that this individual would not get all hot and bothered.
Oh my God. The official reason they told me was because not everybody gets a pedicure and some people have feet that are hard to look at. I didn't know it was because of a chronic foot masturbator.
Yeah, you're welcome. I thought you knew that. Well, yeah, that's why.
No, it's sounding familiar. Oh
I wore flip-flops one day and I got in trouble even in the HR.
So it didn't matter if it was like boy feet, girl feet, like equal opportunity. Hey,
no, the HR person said, "Are you Jesus?" And she had a very thick accent from the islands. Are you Jesus? Yeah.
In fact, I am, my child.
And I'm like, what? And she pointed at my feet and I was like, okay, I get paid nothing. I'm wearing these. And that's how I found out. There was a whole, I thought I told you that. That might've been in the dark days when we weren't getting along well.
That was somebody in upper management? Yes. Just blink.
Yeah.
Okay.
One blink or two.
Yeah, thank you.
So I actually that day wore a shirt that I could wear on the radio. That was probably one of my most inappropriate shirts, even more inappropriate than I have a big banana. Do you remember the shirt I had on that day? When I tell you what shirt it is, you're going to remember what happened in the Walmart. It was the brown shirt from American Eagle, and I had the light blue, the turquoise blue writing. It said, "I have candy."
We had a van?
Yeah, I have candy. And we were in a van. Yes. So you, having the bladder the size of a Dixie cup, you had to go to the bathroom before we drove back to Albany.
Of course.
So we go in the store.
Just because I have a big butt doesn't mean I have a big bladder.
No, they don't correlate with each other. I don't know much about girls. I'm just saying.
No, they're not related.
So we're in there and I'm waiting for you outside the bathroom because I don't know. You didn't want to go in the store alone though. Probably because the old men that get all hot and bothered, right?
He was waiting.
So I was just standing outside the bathroom and all of a sudden this woman comes up to me. "You're disgusting." I'm thinking, does she not like my tattoos? Does he? I don't know. So
did you look down at your shirt?
Yeah, I was wearing flip-flops. That's what it was. No. So I go, and I go, what? I'm sorry, miss. I don't know what you're talking about. And she points at my shirt and she's like, "You're disgusting. You're advertising that and you're standing outside the bathroom waiting for people to advert." And I was like, what?
In her defense, the optics weren't great.
Okay, all right. To be fair, it was an awkward choice of places to stand. And I told her just to get the hell out of here. What's wrong with you? And she comes back, and you're taking forever, of course.
Well, girls have things to do.
You were, and I'm waiting.
We make friends, we chat, we have special little purses that are pink with things.
Even at the Walmart, yes, all relative. So I'm standing there still waiting for you, and all of a sudden I hear, there he is. That's him. That's the one. That's the criminal. And she's got the manager and security guard, and they're coming over to me. And the manager realizes, he's like, this lady thinks you're trying to, do something inappropriate here.
Whatever would give them that idea.
And I just said, it's from American Eagle. Look, it's on the sleeve. It says American. He was like, ma'am, it's just a joke. The shirt, you shouldn't joke about such things. And at this point, you're coming out of the bath. What was your first impression to see a cop, the store manager, and an old woman yelling at me?
It's over. We're going to be on the news. I'm like, what? I just said, what did you do?
I know, you blame me. You blamed me.
Well,
but I think you thought it was because we were selling the tickets that we were.
Maybe they thought we were ticket scalping and it's suddenly the 80s and that's like illegal or something.
Yeah, you were all worried like it was something. And I'm like, I'll explain on the way back.
Get in the car, get in the van. Now you're shoving me and going, get in the van with an I Have Candy shirt. And there's nothing bad.
And then that old woman comes up and she goes, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have made that assumption. And I said, thank you. And she goes, because if they know how to read, they're too old for you. And I was like, you bitch. Do you remember how mad I was the whole drive back?
Did you offer her any Edge Fest?
No.
Hey, you want to see Drowning Pool?
No. And I think you were probably scared because I drove and I was livid. That was the most insulting, horrible, awful thing she could have said. I was so mad driving back to Albany. So, and we were not. And I don't know, did you feel a little scared?
In Coastal?
No, without me driving back so mad.
Oh, I mean, I was kind of, Darwin, I was kind of used to your moods at this point.
Oh, that's putting it. What do you mean my moods? What do you mean? What are you talking about?
What do you mean?
You mean I wasn't even keeled and friendly and cheerful all the time?
Some of the time you were.
When I was home.
You had a nice streak.
Occasionally. So yeah, that was our trip back. I think we got more mad at the wrecking ball though after we got back because none of that would have been a situation at all if
he was always setting us up to fail. He was always setting us up to fight with each other, and it didn't really become clear to us what he was doing till a little later on down the road. That's what made it so awful.
He also didn't believe us that we sold tickets there because he deliberately sent us outside of our coverage area thinking we would just be wasting time in a parking lot for 2 hours.
Ugh, he was so awful. Once I was driving with him and we stopped at a light and he said, there's some ZMR posters on that pole over there and they're crooked. Just go get them and rip them down. And I'm like, I'm not getting out at this light and like ripping down posters. He's like, yeah, you are.
He just would pull these power trips, and until we caught on, it was, that's going to be an interesting episode. That's for sure. We'll handle that one delicately.
The wrecking ball.
What's life without a second act? Darwin and Cat are back.
Despite all of these things going on, we started to deteriorate. Our relationship did. And management said, all right, we're going to give you a couple days off, which was a shock. And we want you guys to go take a trip together and do some team building and get back on track. But they didn't give us money to do it. And so we had to go somewhere that was kind of cheap. And I said, I know, I have a tent and an air mattress. Why don't we go camping? And why don't we go to Hampton Beach? Which, by the way, no offense to people like Hampton Beach, it's the Walmart of beaches, okay? Speaking of Walmart, if there were a Walmart of beaches, it's Hampton Beach, New Hampshire. You had never been camping.
No, I was excited to go. I thought, wow, hey, maybe this will really put things back on track. Some people go to counseling. Some people start working out really heavily. We're going to go camping. And this was New Hampshire. Hampton Beach.
So we go to the beach. We set up our tent. Well, mostly me, because you're like, I'm a girl. I don't do tents. I said, it's okay.
Oh, jeez. I sound like such a princess.
I mean, it was all right. So we get set up at camp, and we're not far from the beach, and we drive down to hang out at the ocean. Why not? The first thing we see is this. Do you remember the giant woman in the peach like jumpsuit with the walker? It was kind of moving along.
Yeah.
And you made some joke that was really funny, not to her, but to me about her,
I said she's the type where Richard Simmons comes and looks in her window and says, just wiggle your toes.
Start somewhere. Yeah. And later on, do you remember we saw her walker like bobbing in the water and she was nowhere to be seen? And we're like,
it's like that scene from Jaws.
I'm like, you killed her. You killed her. And then the waves came and they washed off my swim trunks. And you actually gave me a huge compliment.
Yeah.
You asked how I swim with that dragon behind me. And I'm like, you're my friend. So we were having fun.
So how's the bottom of the sea?
Yeah, it was great. We were having fun. We were actually fixing.
It was great. I really had hope. I thought, you know what? This actually is working. This actually is like putting our friendship back on track. And that's important because think about it. Our job was to talk to each other in the morning and entertain people. And if we're hating each other, we can fake it, but you can't fake it for so long that, people are going to start to know.
And the show will start to not be as funny. Exactly. And we were at this terrible beach and we were in a tent, but we were having fun. And we go back to the tent and we cook. I made dinner. You know, I love cooking on a campfire. And
that was, I don't know if you remember, but this was such an amazing moment because that is the weekend. That is the night I discovered spray on butter.
Oh, that was a big deal for you.
I said, this is the greatest invention ever.
And we put it on everything. I don't know how we're alive.
Forget the polio vaccine, the COVID vaccine. No, spray on butter is like incredible.
And we became really obsessed with spray on butter after this trip. Like in a weird way. We had it at work. We had it everywhere. It became a thing. Yeah.
You spritz behind the ears, on the wrist.
And when Anna Nicole Smith died, we blamed it on the spray on butter.
There was spray on butter in her fridge, and she
was addicted to it. So we go back, we have dinner, you discover new things and that change your life. And we go to sleep and we had a great day. And then I think it was maybe 4:30 in the morning. I
had to pee. And this was the kind of campground where there were actual bathrooms. It wasn't like dig a hole, you're on your own. No, there were actual bathrooms. So I get up, really nice, go to the bathroom, come back in. Zip. I thought I zipped the tent up.
You thought so, but you didn't.
But then it started to rain. And like about half hour later, I heard you kind of wrestling going, Cat, did you pee? And the whole tent was flooded. It was
actually the air mattress we were sharing. Remember, we were floating around. There was so much water in there.
Help! Row to shore! Save yourself!
We were like that I Love Lucy episode where the train goes by and the bed is like moving on. But in your defense, it was not entirely your fault, okay? So, the campsite we had was the lowest one, and all the campsites were like draining to ours. So even if you had zipped it, it wouldn't have mattered. So
all the Bud Light and bodily fluids and mixing with rain from the night before just kind of drained right into our tent. Fantastic.
So we decided we got to figure out what to do. I don't know. So we didn't even pack up. We just said, we'll be back. And we went to like a Friendly's that had all those scary paintings on the wall. They had like a covered bridge with like a fribble coming out of it. And we were...
Friendly.
We were kind of disturbed by the paintings and we were soaked. And we ate breakfast and then we decided we're just going to throw away the whole tent and just go home.
That's the thing about us. If something is dirty, it's like I would rather, if somebody pukes in my car, I would rather just roll it off a cliff and call it a day. We just left that tent there.
I shoved it in a garbage can and we left.
And we called it success.
We did. It helped us out for a while. It wasn't a promotion they signed us up for, but it was you're going to go do this and we're not going to give you extra money to do it. And we made the most of it in the way we could. And it saved the show for a little while longer.
Yeah. Put us on life.
But most importantly, you had a life-changing moment.
Spray on butter. Next time on Darwin and Cat.
And as soon as I opened the door, there it is.
Brown gate.
It's just one little, like, Tootsie Roll. Right there.
See, that's a part of the story I didn't actually know. It was just one.